Next presentation will be on Kenya's data journey for evidence-based VNRs by Benjamin Avisevo, Director of Statistical Coordination and Methods, who's stepping in for the Director General of the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, McDonald Obido, and will be presenting online. Over to you.
Your Excellency, distinguished guests, good afternoon. I will be presenting on behalf of the Director General of Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, Dr. McDonald Obudo, on the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics data journey to evidence-based voluntary national review, that the efforts undertaken to close data gaps and improve data quality. And next, the presentation is outlined. We'll have a discussion on the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics role in the VNR process, the National Sustainable Development Goals Indicator Framework, and the challenges with the administrative data and statistics. We'll also be looking at the harnessing new data sources for SDG statistics and capacity development initiatives. And then we'll have conclusions. Next. We explore the journey of voluntary national review process with a focus on the data coordination of the national statistical system, the VNR process, and also addressing the SDG data gaps and ensuring data quality. These are the principles that we use in the VNR process. Next. In this VNR process, the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics works very closely with the State Department for Economic Planning, which is the government agency responsible for the VNR process in Kenya. And our role is to ensuring that we have data that comes across all areas, especially from government department agencies. We verify this data to ensure that they conform to the right quality and they conform to the right methodology for computing the SDGs that we compute. This is done through a process where we have technical working groups across many thematic areas that we look at the data that is provided to ensure that it conforms with the right standards, and we have a framework that we use to ensure that data quality is maintained. The Kenya National Indicator Framework is updated on an annual basis, which informs the report on VNR process, especially the 2024 VNR report. Next. Our contribution in the 2024 VNR review, the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics supply the right information to the State Department of Economic Planning when they are preparing the VNR report, and we ensure that the quality of that information is of the highest degree. We also, in this year's VNR report, we in KNBS also participated in the reviewing the VNR report and validating the data that was used. And this was also done in the consultation with the ministries, department, agencies that provided the data, especially the administrative data. And where there was cases of discrepancies, we had to ensure that we close up the gaps and be able to have the right information. So this is done under very vigorous data quality checks. And again, in this VNR report, we also took advantage of other stakeholders, especially the non-state actors, where we also had a get-together where we had to validate some of the data that came through, and therefore we were able to use some of the data from the CGD. And we are happy that in this VNR, we participated fully, and we have now provided a statistical annex for the VNR report. Next. Next, Just a glimpse of our journey in terms of the improving on reporting on SDGs indicator framework. Our journey began in 2016, where we designed the national indicator framework. And in 2016, we had the 128 indicators reporting on. In 2020, we had 131 indicators. And now in 2024, we have 168 indicators that we're reporting on. And this is really the effort that we have had to do with consultation with MDAs. And we're also very grateful that we are able to work with the non-state actors that has also provided some of the indicators that we are reporting on, and also in terms of the points that we have been reporting on. Next. If you look at the share in terms of the data sources that we are using to report on SDGs, you see easily that we are majority of the indicators that we're reporting on, we use the administrative data, which is really important for us as something that we need to strengthen to ensure that we have right quality of data from administrative data, because this is where is the major source of our data. Of course, 34% is from census and surveys, and we're also grateful for the support we have gotten to undertake some of the critical surveys, such as the DHS 2020 survey, and we're also planning to undertake the Kenya Integrated Household Budget Survey, which will also improve all the data sources. This is some of the critical surveys that we do to ensure that we have continuous flow of information, and as well as we want also to expand the scope of data that is coming from the non-state actors, so that we can now reuse their data to ensure that we also increase the coverage of our reporting on the SDGs indicators. Next. Out of the 168 indicators that we have reported, this represents about 67.7% of the total indicator framework, the global one, which is 248%. So this is something that we are working on, and we are hopeful by doing other surveys we are going to undertake. For example, we are now conducting the Kenya school census of schools, and we are also planning to undertake the Kenya Integrated Household Budget Survey that will also improve this coverage to a higher number, and we expect that with support of the international community, we should be able to undertake these surveys and censuses to improve on this progress. Next. Of course, this is what we are talking about, that we still have a lot of data gaps. That is reporting on the indicators, because we only have 168 indicators out of the 248. It means there is a lot of data gaps that exist. And even though those ones that we report on, we still have some data gaps within some of them. And we wish to close these gaps, and we hope that some of the data gaps that some of the indicators that we report on, again, we need to disaggregate them to even to the standard that is required with the methodology for computing these indicators. So by undertaking the up-to-date surveys and also strengthening the administrative data sources, we should be able to improve on our coverage. Next. Within the data gaps, we also find that we still have in terms of the lags within especially on survey data that is reported from surveys, we still have data gaps. Time lag, we can have up to 1 to 2 years. The indicators that we're reporting on, we are about 11 indicators that have that lag of 1 to 2 years. we have about 16 indicators that we report where we have a lag of 3 or 4 years, and sometimes we have a lag of 5 and plus years. You may recall that that, for example, we get a lot of indicators from the Kenya Integrated Household Budget Survey, but the last that we conducted was in 2015-16, and we are now planning to do the next one, and you can see the gap is about 10 years. So in the improvement of some of these, the regulatory of doing these surveys, and of course, strengthening the administrative data sources, as well as the SDGC reuse of the citizen-generated data, we could be able to close up in terms of this data timeline. Next. As we said earlier, that in validating the data that comes into the VNR report, we undertake data quality assessments, and in the currently we are having the Kenya Statistical Quality Assurance Framework, which is the basis for which we validate statistics, and this is as well as we also have what we are calling the Kenya Code of Statistical Code of Practice that we also extend to the MDS to ensure that the data that they provide to us meets the right standard using that framework. So, and with the support from the technical working groups, we are able to validate the data that we are using in the VNR report. Next. Of course, as we said, the majority of the data that we receive is from the administrative sources, and we talked about 65% of the indicators that we report on are from administrative data sources. We encounter a lot of challenges, and we wish to be able to really look at what is coming from these data sources. We also have sometimes the differences in reference period, the target population when we are reporting on some of this data that we report on SDGs. We also have some discrepancy between the administrative data and surveys that we conduct, because sometimes of the references that we use and also the measurements. This is the reason why we need to look into capacity building to ensure that some of these discrepancies are overcome. The use of non-standard units isn't in the administrative data is also an issue, which we need a lot of training to be able to have this and done. Especially recognizing that in most of the MDAs that who report some of this data have limited capacity in statistical matters and in analyzing data. So it means that we need to upgrade this area. Next. The other emerging issue is the reuse of the citizen-generated data. And we are proud that in Kenya, we are really working very closely with the civil society organization, and we, with the help of the Kenya SDG Kenya Forum, we've been able to bring together so many SDGs as a civil society organization, and we've been able to be able to expand with them the need for them to have their data they use so that we can reuse that data for reporting on SDGs. We are happy that we have also developed criteria for validating the citizen-generated data, and we have already formed a technical working group with a civil society organization so that we can be looking at their data so that we can reuse for the purposes of official reporting. We are happy that we have examined about 30 data sets from several civil society organizations, and we were able to use some of the data into the 2024 National Indicator Framework on SDGs. We specifically, we utilized on the indicator 4.11 and SDG indicator 5.33. into the national indicator framework. Next.
Ben, could you please wrap up slowly?
Yes, KNBS is committed to using citizen-generated data, and we plan to build on these issues. Next. We require capacity building, and this is some of the issues that we want to do, and we have put this into the Kenya Strategy for Development Statistics for the year 2024 to 2027, and we believe that this is really the core for advancing the improvement of SDGs. Next. In conclusion, KNBS will continue to play a vital role in advancing SDGs in Kenya by providing quality data, exploration and use of alternative data sources to close up data, and contingent cooperation with partnership with the development partners and stakeholders. And we're happy to report the close relationship we have with Paris 21, UNICEF, and others in this agenda. Next. Thank you very much for your attention.